Hey, folks, it's Lindsay Hosting with SPS back in the building. That's right, Sport Psychology Solutions, the SPS Edge show with my great co-host, Mr. Terry McCord Jr. And we got the guys always holding us down. You got John and Patrick Rutherford doing great things. I don't know where you guys on the West Coast today. Where you guys at? West Coast, Maui, Fiji. I don't know where you guys are. Are you local time? What's going on?
We local time.
Local time today. All right. I didn't see the helicopter blowing everything around, but always good to have you guys. Man, we got a lot of things to talk about. You know, sometimes we get so fortunate, guys. We just get a lot of just sports information, things that I'm passionate about, things I know you guys are passionate about. But I guess the first thing we can start with, Terry, is the news heard around the sporting world. Coach K is retiring. That's right. Coach K is calling it quits. He said, I'm going to get one more year. Look at that look on his face. He said, but I'm going to get my roses. I'm going to do my world tour. Oh, yeah, y'all going to get me the rocking chair, do all these other things, but that's it. Well, I'll add to a caveat to that, too, and I'll start with you, Terry, before I get to John and Patrick. Also, and definitely for you, John, is Tom Izzo next? Because it seems like everybody's leaving the dance floor. It's like they say, if we came together, we leave together. You know, and you out here, it sounds like Tom will be that one dude asking for a ride home. They said, well, who'd you come with? You know what I'm saying? Say, my ride left already. So we go see. But Terry, overall, when you hear the news about Coach K, one of the most dominant, winning, respected coaches in college basketball retiring, what do you think of that?
I think it's a good thing. I say it's good because we get to spend time and talk about his, the history that he's made. We can talk about his accolades, achievements, and everything that he's done to impact the Duke program. What it was when he came in, and then now leaving. He's left a big mark in the basketball world. I talk about a good thing though. That's really one of the things that I like to talk about. When guys that have been in the game for a while and step away on their own terms. I think other guys needed take some notes because no one is ever gonna fire Coach K. No one's ever gonna fire Coach Izzo. No one's gonna fire Roy Williams. Like these are just got Calipari too. No one's ever gonna come up and say, "Hey man, like pink slip, you're out the door. Pack your bag, leave." But it's always good to see when a coach is like, you know what, my time is done. This new generation, Juwan Howard, big guy, Shaka Smart, these newer coaches, got some new juice flowing through their body, trying to bring basketball back to a new level. And seeing the game change, he's realizing that his time has come, for him to step away from the game.
Yeah, I got a follow-up question for you, Terry. But before I do that, I definitely want to recognize our sponsors. I want to recognize Horatio Williams and the Horatio Williams Foundation, Dick's Sporting Goods, as well as Gilead Sciences. And shout out to my guys, the Streets of Talking Podcast Network, down in Houston and Clarence Babor, and also the Team Michigan. We're going to look at some commercials from Team Michigan. They got some more things coming up. We talk about this booster ball that's going to be happening in Halloween at Grand Traverse Resort. That's going to be a fun time. But I got a follow-up for you, Terry, before I go to John and Patrick. How much should Coach K be appreciative to his Tobacco Road rival, Roy Williams, for getting out in front and saying, hey, I'm out of here? It kind of paved the way, if you will, soften the blow, or kind of give them cover. And I'm sure John and Patrick will have a feedback. But how important do you think Roy Williams announcing his retirement has helped kind of allow this transition for these guys? And I say this respectfully. I definitely want to use the word dinosaurs. I think that's not showing the respect. But these guys who are kind of almost relics of a time gone by almost. And I don't even know if that's giving them their just due. Maybe John and Patrick can help me and how I reference that. But just what do you think about that with Roy Williams before I go to John and Patrick?
I think it did kind of impact Coach K. I think it kind of showed how important it is to know when your time has came. You don't want to be so prideful and continue to hold, a program that is itching to make that stride into the new generation of play. You don't want to ever be that person that holds them back. Same thing we see of Danny Ainge. It's getting to the point, man, where basketball has taken a new kind of tide in the water, and where team building and team chemistry and philosophy is different nowadays. And I think with Roy Williams taking his step back and realizing that, hey, let me let another guy get a shot. I've had my time, and Coach K doing the same. It's going to be interesting to see, what the new philosophy at Duke and at North Carolina will be, because it won't be what you usually see with Coach K and Williams.
Absolutely. Great. And of course, right on time. We love hearing from you guys, your comments. I know my guy Aaron Mays is going to always be either checking in with us or listening later. And also to the McCord family. I know they hold us down. We better not slip up on nothing because the McCord is going to be checking in on everything. And that's nothing but love. It's appreciated. So let me go to you, Patrick. I can always throw the tough ones at you, just like the rest of this panel. But I know you got the chops for it. How much of this was not only being appreciative of Roy Williams saying, let me clear the way, but also Coach K kind of like, rubbing his brow like, phew, because the game has changed, like Terry said, so much to where their recruiting style and what they were looking to do probably won't be as effective because they don't command that same type of impact when you talk about the digital age of sports, if that's a good way to put it. I might coin that term. This is the new digital age of sports. Recruiting on your phone, recruiting on IG as opposed to just straight up living room. So what do you think about that, Patrick?
I think the complete opposite.
All right, talk to me.
I think that there is no better coach right now than Coach K. If you can name any guys that.
What do you define as better?
Calipari has given you some all-stars here lately, but like soon as Coach K start accepting one and dones, they start going that way. So, you got Kyrie Irving and Jason Tatum and RJ Barrett, Zion. You got most of the young talent has come through Duke. Like, so I don't think that if you're talking about like, has this time passed? I think that's a bit just ridiculous. I think it's a genius tipping his cap saying, hey, I've had enough, it's time for me to go do something else or go chill by the pool with my wife or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just I don't think the times are moving too fast for him though. No.
You make an excellent point.
I still think he the best thing smoking, and who wouldn't want to go to Duke?
Right. I think you make an excellent point, and I want to just stay on that for a second before I go to your comrade sitting next to you. We did see the early exit of the Boston Celtics, but right there you had Coach K's fingerprint on this first round of basketball with the two top impactful players, both Kyrie Irving and Jason Tatum being on speed dial with Coach K. And I think if we just do a little bit more thinking, we can probably see where there's more of an impact. You talk about Zion pretty much being the new face of the league. I don't care what you say. That's the way they want to go. And he kind of did that as well, having that Coach K thing. Let me just stay with you for a second, Patrick, to say, if that's the case, if he still got it going, and to be honest, if it wasn't for him saying he was going to do one more year, I almost thought it was going to be Coach K to the Celtics, but we already know obviously there's no timeline for that to happen. But I had to kind of look and be like, wait a minute, is he? What's going on? Do you think that was a potential possibility, or is there a potential that we'll see Coach? Wait a minute, let me ask you before you say no. Act like you don't hear me. Act like see me telegraphing the question, Patrick. So I'm gonna ask you like this: do you think it's possible Coach K can end up in the NBA?
No.
Why not? He got the USA basketball experience. The pros respect him.
He's got gold medals, just like he got Kyrie Irving in the speed dial. I guarantee he's got several other NBA players.
But he's missing an NBA title. He got national championship in basketball, gold medals. Come on, man. Huh?
That's enough. Yeah.
Enough. What word is that? Where that word come from? Enough.
It's gonna be like 74 or 75.
He is 74. He's 74.
By the time he does his retiree, when he does he's gonna get his year of everybody kissing his ass all year long. He's gonna get his whole little.
There's a lot of ass kissing going on.
Absolutely. And
rightfully so. Give him his props.
By the time that's done, he'll be 75. He's ready to hang it up. He going out.
I got you. As I go to you, John, I got a quick Coach K story. When Duke played Michigan State 2 years ago at the Breslin Center, I was on the front row for the press conference, and I forget what question I may have asked him. I guess I'll put that out there in a little while on social media. But as he was leaving, I reached out to shake his hand, and because of where we were sitting, he gave me his left hand, which is not how you're supposed to shake somebody's hand. But you know what I said? Damn it, I'll take it. I'll take Coach K's left hand if that's what it takes. Because now it's over with. So What do you think, John, when you hear a guy like Coach K, which despite all of us being on this podcast, who may have followed him, and I'll go down on record, say I've always been a Duke fan. That's no question. When you hear of Coach K's retirement, what does it make you think of? And then what do you think the over-under is for Coach Tom Izzo in his time when it seems like he's the only one still left at the dance right now?
Well, Coach K has been working damn near every day since he's been 18 years old. He was a cadet at West Point at 18. That's a job. You're an employee of the United States government. And he's worked every day since then. And on the battlefield, this guy is saying that I'm going to do it one more time and I'm leaving. I've had enough. I don't think it's got anything to do with him being too old. He can't navigate 2021. Man, this guy is a fighter. This guy, he's not going to let anybody tell him he can't do something. And one thing, smart is smart is smart is smart. And this man is smart. Just think what he had to do to qualify to go to West Point. And he chose basketball. And he did it better in college basketball than anybody in the history of the game. You are what your record is at that level. And he's got 1,000 wins. Nobody else does. He's got 5 championships. He's only second to John Wooden. 15 ACC champions. 12 ACC tournament championships. And over 100 players drafted. He deserves to have all the nights in rocking chairs. He's done it. And listen, Terry says, he brought Duke. Well, hey, hold on, my friend. Not so fast, my friend. Vic Bubas brought that program back in the middle 60s. He had 2 assistants. One was the name of Hubie Brown. The other was Chuck Daly, baby. They went to the
Whoa, I didn't know. I got to make a note of that.
Then they transferred to Bill Foster and went to the championship game with freshmen. Mike Krzyzewski came in and even built it bigger than what those 2 guys did. So
Chuck Daly and Hubie Brown was on Duke's staff?
I watched them play. They were number 1. Michigan was number 2 at Cobo Hall in 1965. I was being recruited by the football team and was invited to be a guest. And Hubie Brown and Chuck Daly were his 2 assistants. That's correct.
Some of the greatest basketball minds. I want to stay with you on one comment you made when you talk about the Roses tour that they're going to have. Will there be anything comparable to what we are going to see as both the Tom Izzos of the world, the Michigan States? If I remember correctly, Duke is coming back to Michigan State this year. Meaning, even I heard Carlos Boozer say this morning, even the haters are going to come out to tip their hat, if you will. Will there be anything comparable when it relates to like this last tour that he's going to be on, when it talks about the adulation he's going to get, all the things they're going to do? I mean, is there going to be anything comparable to what we're getting ready to see? As a matter of fact, will the Coach K tour still college basketball season? Will it still the glory of this next season coming up?
Sure. Well, sure it will. And then as they get closer to the end, we'll see what kind of team he's got. We'll see if he's in the running to challenge anybody, But Tom can take another L from Coach K. I mean, he's got enough of them. He beat him twice. But I'm not sure how competitive it was. I know his team preseason is ranked high. They always are. He won't go out under 500 like he did this year. But yeah, it's gonna be a big story all the time. You're gonna see it constantly. You're gonna see these little programs that they're gonna have before the games, and you're gonna probably by January you're gonna say, "Damn, I wish this shit was over." But you know,
But like a car accident, you can't stop watching. You still be looking at it.
And I want to tell you a quick story. I was in his presence a couple times in at basketball games when we were recruiting. But later on, when I was a businessman, I was in Las Vegas, and Patrick wanted to be a magician. And
Is that right? Don't look at your dad like that, Pat.
I took him to the magician store, and who do we bump into?
Coach K.
Coach K. And I
What?
tell Coach K, I said, you know, I've met you, and we talked a little bit about some common friends we had. And he said, well, you know, what are you doing here? He said, you know, I'm a magician. And I said, really? He goes, yeah, I'm speaking tonight, and I'm here to buy a couple tricks. And he bought Patrick a trick and taught him how to use it. But
What?
yeah, he loves being a magician. But listen, one of the most overlooked things in the world is senior citizens. Mm-hmm. I applaud what the Pistons did in hiring John Beilein. Okay. If I was Orlando's cousin Tyler Cook, I'd be on the phone right now to Dwayne Casey saying, can you hook me up with a one-on-one in the gym with John Beilein? Because he's a great teacher. Don't think that Mike Krzyzewski walks away from this game. He walks away from it every day. His phone is going to ring. People are going to want him. They're going to want to talk basketball. And I'm sure he's still going to have some input with the Olympic team and with guys that he loves in basketball, the Duke boys. And he is going to remain a tremendous resource for young coaches, because no matter what you want to talk about, these new sets, the new way they now play, hey, baby, it comes down to basics. Can I guard this guy? Can I get a stop? How do I do it? You know, and he's a resource that is unbelievable. And his imprint on basketball has been tremendous. And he won't be too far away from the game.
That makes sense. We're going to take a quick break. We want to go to our sponsor team, Michigan. And when we come back, not only we talk about Naomi, Osaka, but maybe Patrick will give us a magic trick. We can see what kind of skills he got going back. So we're going to take a break and we'll be right back with you guys in one moment. That's right, basketball, folks, coming real soon. You got my man giving the nutmeg on the commercial. You know, got the spin move, whatnot, throwing it down with the left. It's going to be a great time at Grand Traverse, and look forward to being up there with some great people. So if you're listening, you want to pass the word, get your teams registered. It's going to be a great opportunity going forward. So with that, that was a really healthy conversation. I guess the last thing I want to ask you, John, I'm going to go back to you really quick before we get into Naomi, just to ask your thought. Is Coach Tom Izzo pushing the electric start to warm the car up right now as it relates to him transitioning?
No, and I'll tell you why. Every day, Lindsay, I research through talking to someone, going online, finding out, and he is recruiting his butt off. He's a stubborn guy, and he's not gonna. He wants to win another one bad. And his 2022 class with Amani Bates and the other kid from Canada that decommitted from him, I think he's even more determined. In fact, if you guys went over to the practice facility now, in the next 2 weeks, you're going to see all the guys he's got up there now. And he's recruiting real heavy. He's trying to get a 6'10" boy out of Nebraska. He's trying to get another shooter out of Illinois. He's in on point guards. He's in on some of the best talent there is. And that, to me, is not a sign of a guy that's packing it in. It's a sign of a guy that's trying to still put together a team and win that second national championship. So I don't think Roy Williams leaving or Coach K leaving. Those guys are at that 10 years older, 12 years older than Tom Izzo. And I don't think Izzo has any idea that he wants to stop. In fact, he's got the pedal to the metal right now. As we speak right now, he's trying to get all these kids, and he's been successful in getting those kids in East Lansing right now.
Yeah. I take that to heart. The one thing I'll say to that is that I wonder what name and likeness and just this new quote-unquote generation or this new season of basketball is going to be like, and if there's a wall that he hits, that despite his, stubbornness and recruiting hard, recruiting to the very end, if the other factors about what's happening and the changes in the college basketball, particularly the high school basketball transitioning, a lot of players choosing to go and just get with these super teams in high school. If the other factors will be a wall for him, what you got on that, John?
Well, this is what I'm hearing. Okay, is that he is in the market right now for a branding person that he will hire and pay a nice salary to.
That's amazing.
Because
Tom don't pay nobody nothing.
Well, those guys make pretty decent money on that staff up there. But
I'm just saying, for him to commit to something that's outside of already set in stone coach's salary is saying a lot, because Tom doesn't necessarily go beyond what the immediate need is.
Right. Well, I understand from reliable.
Michigan hired one too. Michigan hired somebody too.
Yeah, they're all doing it, and you're going to have to adapt to this, and I think he will. And Michigan State basketball is front and center. Come on, man. They're in a lot of showcase games. ESPN loves Tom Izzo. And this likeness thing fits right into Michigan State. And if he's got any damn brains at all, and I think he does, he's going to embrace this thing and hug it. Because I truly believe that he wants to catch Bob Knight as the winningest coach in the history of Big Ten basketball, and I think he wants that second championship.
Yeah, I won't disagree. We'll keep an eye out for that. All right, thank you guys for that. That was really a fulfilling conversation, no doubt, and we'll keep an eye out for the Coach K Show. And I'll check in with you in January, John, to see if we are filled with Coach K stuff or we got a little bit more time left. I'm going to go back to you, Terry, and I think you'd be a great person to introduce this topic that we're going to discuss now. I'll talk about the tennis phenom, Naomi Osaka, and her kind of stirring up the world. I think she's a beautiful young lady, not just in her physical appeal, but just her being so vulnerable and her pretty much saying, look, I'll take your fine and I'm going to, double down on my view and I'm going to pull out of the French Open because of the issues that I was having. Now, one point of clarity, I think when people start talking about this issue, and I have my own particular opinion by being a card-carrying member of the media, if you will, someone made a comment that, she should have let people know, but she argued that she was communicating with them prior to this decision, saying I'm having issues. So here's what I'll pose a question as for you, Terry. Is it right? Well, let me just give my opinion, and I don't have any problem with you being on the other side of it, or neither do I have an issue with John or Patrick being on the other side. I do think there's an obligation. I do think that there is an obligation for her to speak to the media. However, this is such a power move, whether we recognize it or not, that it's going to lead to a different approach. And they also say, whether it's the French media or some staples in the media, that is predominantly middle-aged white men with their own lens and perspective. So let me ask you, Terry, and there's no issue with you disagreeing with me, but what do you think about, should she be obligated to have to speak to the media, or just what's your take on her taking a stance and walking away?
Well, media thing has always been one of those sensitive topics where you're not really sure where to go. And for me, it's like, as an athlete growing up, I knew that, you may potentially have any kind of media interaction. Like it's a part of the game. I mean, people get paid to talk about sports. They got to broadcast you speaking. My biggest thing is that when, she clearly is having problems and with social anxiety and she's not really feeling the media, I wouldn't really like it if they kept pressuring her and making her speak on something when she's giving you the vibes that she doesn't want to talk about it. So like Marshawn Lynch, I mean, a guy who did not talk with the media a lot, doesn't really feel, I mean, I would say he doesn't really like, because he feels like they switch his words, which is true. Media has been on record for switching words with athletes are saying, because think about it, they're trying to get paid to make the biggest story. I mean, they want to do what they can to find the biggest storyline, make you read their work and view, and they get paid off your views. I get it. It's a business. But I think when we give them that comfort and that space, where she allows herself to get those questions she wants to answer. I do think that in the media, I think we do need to give more credit to athletes that just choose to pass the question. I think a lot of times, when a guy comes off a tough loss, they ask him, hey, go through that play, as if I'm not upset about how I messed up that play. It's like, give the dude a second. If he wants to pass about it and not talk about it, let the athlete, recover and let him, kind of just take in what just happened. I think a lot of times people put a lot of pressure on athletes that it happened, get over it, let's talk about it, I need my story. Put yourself in their shoes and understand what they're going through. They're coming off a tough loss. They may have social anxiety. They may not like how they speak. They may not like how they conduct themselves on camera. It's all about, looking at perspectives and putting yourself in their shoes, showing some empathy for once.
No, I like that empathy. You're right on point with that. I like what you're saying with that. I'll go to you, Patrick, in this regard. To Terry's point, Terry saying, "Hey, can you give him a pass?" Or maybe if Naomi would have pulled a Marshawn Lynch on him, and he was like, "You know what? I'm just here so I don't get fined." And though it seemed Marshawn, and because he's like a brother that you ain't gonna say nothing sideways to, if you keep it so real, that he was able to kind of get away with that. But I wonder, you think, Patrick, she could have kind of pulled a Marshawn Lynch and said, listen, I've been trying to tell you guys I'm not feeling it. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Maybe if she would learn how to say it in sign language or whatever it may be, whatever it may be. And we also welcome your comments to the listeners as well, so we can respond. But, Pat, what do you think about that?
I think she did what she wanted to do, and I would hate to be in a world where you could work as hard as she has to get to the level that she has, and then make a decision that all these people are ridiculing and talking about and having conversations about. Like, we live in America. You do what you want to do here.
Right.
This is the place where you do what you want to do. And all over the world, they adapt that culture. Like, it's time to, like, just because she's the top athlete or anything, she don't have to talk to anybody if she don't want to.
Orlando Watkins, our guy in the studio holding us down. What a statement. He said, a person of Haitian heritage showing the French who has the real power. Let's talk about this brown girl. Now, if this was blonde hair, blue eye, girl saying, hey, would they have leaned into some white fragility? And would the other media and other organizations and outlets from around the world come to her side and support her? Not to say they're not doing that for Naomi, but would you hear this outpouring of mainstream media personalities saying, get off of her, leave her alone? But you got a brown girl who's unapologetically black. I mean, she was out there, takes, Stack, he was saying that she was at the George Floyd rallies, no security, out there screaming passion. So she has definitely adopted and took a side as far as what she relates to culturally. John, when you hear this, I love to take advantage of your historical reference point that you can kind of tell us about what, when, and where. What do you think about this right now in 2021 when you have an athlete talking about the social anxiety? And let us also remember, too, how old is she, like 18? Was she 20? How old is she? 23.
23.
Excuse me, 23. That's what I thought. Been playing since she's been 18. I believe she's been on the circuit for that long. Just give me your take on that. And then also, too, and I'll throw this in there, what about the money? You know, the media helps you get your promotion so you can get the money, you know? So what's up with that?
Well, I think that I have a lot of empathy for her because she explained to the media in 2019. She broke down in an interview after at a Grand Slam event, and she explained to the world that she suffers from depression and anxiety.
Great point.
Okay, and she, like you mentioned so eloquently earlier, she had laid the foundation with these folks before the tournament. But I read something she said, and it just made me, the hair on the back of my neck, I was so impressed with it. Refusal is the necessary beginning of a strategy against exploitation. This is her. This is this 23-year-old girl talking. Okay.
Read that again. You say refusal.
Refusal is the necessary beginning of a strategy against exploitation.
Wow.
And just because you've got all these billion-dollar sponsors, and you know they want this French Open to be in every crook and cranny there is in the world. You know, we need you. We need you to talk. And she explained to them that she was having some mental health issues before she went there. And you know what? If you care about a person, you don't put them in this situation. She's just at the beginning of this extraordinary career. You know, young people, old people, middle-aged people, you need people around you that are going to help you navigate what is a very nervous world right now. And they didn't show any kind of help towards her at all. And this is a human being that cares more about the world than tennis. She's worried about her world she lives in. This bothers her. This sits on her shoulders. And to just ignore this is just a bunch of billionaires exploiting the talents of a young person.
Okay, very good.
And she stood up. And I want to finish with one thing.
Yeah, sure.
I read someone asked Serena a question about how she handles the media. She said, I woke up one day and I looked in the mirror and I said, ain't none of these people can hold a candle to the talent and skill I got on a tennis court. So I don't care what they ask me. I know none of them can even touch what I do. Now,
yeah, you're right.
It took her some time to get there.
Some soul searching.
This girl, this human being cares about other people in the world. And it's hard. You see all the stuff we've seen, all the stuff going on in this world. And she's not going to be someone who is going to ignore this. And she's feeling this, and she's having problems. And I tell you, I take my hat off to her, and I hope that each day that she has the best day she can possibly have, because I know what it's like to carry a burden. And she's carrying a burden for all of us. She wants a better world for all of us. And man,
no doubt,
that's a hell of a person right there.
No doubt. And I want to stay on this, and I'll pose this question back to the entire panel. I'm going to do my best, Patrick, devil's advocate outreach, just to challenge this. Now, You know, I'm a sports psychology consultant first and foremost that happens to have media credentials. You know, that's that 7 Mile Detroit hustle in me. Somebody offered it to me. I took advantage of it. So that lets you know what my priorities lie. But I will do my best devil advocate impression here. Very passionate what you said, John. But as of this year, she's made $55.2 million. Okay. Yeah, would you say is that Terry talking about woo? Terry like, hey Terry, you want to go back and change your statement from earlier?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, she's up 55 M's. Now, this is a devil's advocate statement, right? So the media has been a conduit for her financial success. So here's my question to the panel. To your point, Patrick, John, Terry, everyone has said it. But what if the media, or excuse me, what if the tennis association said, you know what, okay, that's fine. But we are going to kind of subtract or take away your funds, or that's going to significantly impact your purse. I think she made $20 million off of one. I don't know if that was one season, but, you know, she's getting it. So what if her not doing media played a significant role in determining how much money she makes? And I'll just go extreme to say, what if that cut her money in half, or maybe to 75%, or maybe if they said, you know what, we make our money through our sponsors, which is how we pay you these purses. So if you don't do media, you won't get paid. So I go to that extreme, and I pose this to the panel in general. I'll start with Terry, and I'll go to the Rutherford man just to get some thoughts from a devil's advocate standpoint. Terry, I know that kind of blew you away. You backed up off the camera when I said that.
No, I did not think it was that much, but you know, congrats and props to her. She deserves every penny of that. So, I mean, I think the biggest thing with her, and something that I've seen, she recently.
Let me just say this headline. I'm going to add this headline. Naomi Osaka made more money in the past 12 months than any female athlete in history. That was 6 days ago.
Always, and she deserves it. I mean, I think, you know, a lot of it, you know, she speaks so well, and a lot of people, you know.
Hold on. How do you know she speaks so well, Terry?
Oh, I mean, I just do through Twitter, her own social. So she uses her space on social media, and so like she'll post, you know, her saying things, posting things, and like so she uses her platform on social media really well. Like you'll get to know her for sure just by going down her social media, which I think she does a great job with. But I think also with her clothing line, with Nike right now, I think we're taking a toll now where people are liking those people who are speaking up for these kind of things, who's speaking up for mental health awareness, Black Lives Matter. Like, people are going to realize that if their favorite athlete is taking a stand, people are going to buy that, whether it's for the right reason or because of Osaka. I mean, people are going to, you know, she's young. Everyone has that attitude, that rebellion attitude of this generation of refusing to just say that it's enough. Or just being happy with equal rights. Like, they're always pushing to make sure that everyone has the same opportunity. And I think with her speaking up now and with mental health awareness, me and you, we know for sure that that's been growing. Everyone's, you know, willing to speak out. Kevin Love, DeMar DeRozan, you know, all these different athletes willing to speak up and say, hey, I'm dealing with depression right now, you know, and being able to feel that vulnerability, you know, with the media and being able to say, hey, I'm dealing with this right now. You know, and I think that brings that community together. And I think also with her saying that means more than the money. And I think she realizes that because she knows her voice carries. She knows her voice has value. And I really prop athletes who really realize that, look, it's my job to take that stand. It doesn't matter who's going to do it or how long it's going to take. I just know that I'm going to do it. And big props to her. And I think it's bigger than the money to her.
Okay, what if they say they got to Patrick, what if they say you got to run that bread back? Speak up or run the bread back. And we know that's not going to be the case, but I'm just trying to just leverage that. And I pose the same kind of question to you, John, as far as I agree, but what if it becomes some type of financial incentive to her speaking that can significantly impact her playing? Or if you don't speak, you can't play in these events, meaning you can't win the money.
Right.
Would that be, I won't even ask if that was fair, but would that change your outlook on things?
Would it change my outlook personally?
Right, yes.
Yeah, I'm not sitting on $55 million. You know,
Not yet, right?
if I had $50 million, yeah, I would stand up and not play for a tournament that would sacrifice me another few million here or there. How many houses can you buy? I don't have the billionaire mindset where it's like I need 17 houses and 20 cars. You know what I mean? So like if I was sitting $50 million, then I would be in the streets with social justice, and I would be up for mental health conversations and everything.
Or she can pretty much say, I'm good right now. If I don't play no more, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll stack my bread and go from there.
Yeah.
I get it. I love it. Was that your agent on the phone, John, that pulled you away?
Well, you know, we were talking about people that are old, have a lot of knowledge, and that's someone I'm doing some work for that actually pays money. So that's the reason I took that call.
No, you fine, man. Well, here's the thing. With the time that we have.
But I think that one thing that I was going to talk about earlier was I don't know the contract specifics of the tennis world. Like I know that NFL football players and Major League Baseball.
Marshawn Lynch has to talk.
Yeah,
they'll just say we're not gonna pay you.
Yeah, they got to sit there.
Right.
You'll be fined ridiculous, not $15,000 like Osaka. You'll be fined $15,000 a day that you won't talk.
But what's the rationale behind that? Because the rationale is that this is tying into our ratings, tying into our sponsorship.
Right.
It's tying into the money.
Watch another sport where we gotta take rules from billionaire old white guys from 50 years ago.
You said it's time for us to watch another sport?
I said I'm happy that that's a sport where they don't have to look up to $1 billion boss and tell them what they want to do, and they're grown-ups.
Well,
you know what I mean? Right, I'm not a fan of the owners of the NFL and all the rules that these guys play the roughest game in the world and get paid the least right now. You know, the rules and everything that's in the NFL. If you drop dirty on a marijuana test, you have to go through this program that's like 16, 18 months long. That's why Josh Gordon can't get his job back. You know, like it's like a ridiculous. It's worse than a cop pulling you over. Like they control everything that you do because that's what they've created, and they've made billions of dollars doing it. So you know, there's two sides to everything, but I'm not a fan of it.
Okay. Well, this is what we're gonna do, guys, with the time that we have. We can talk about fans behaving badly in the NBA in Washington, Boston, and Utah. Talk about Danny Ainge being out, Brad Stevens being in, and we can also talk about an NBA playoff overview. Or we can combine these topics for the remainder of time that we have, and we can touch on them as you guys see fit based on that. So what I'll do is, we've been seeing fans behaving badly in Washington. Had my man run on the court. He got tackled. I think the security guards will get at least a 10-day contract with the Washington football team after that great wrap-up he did. Everybody saw that. Boston, Boston being Boston, my man wearing Kyrie's jersey, right? Threw a bottle at him. Hey, to throw a plastic bottle and it sailed like that was, I was like, wow, it's amazing how close that came. And then I didn't know too much about this, but supposedly John Morant's family was harassed in Utah to the point where the mom, that the Utah Jazz, even though they knew the series was about to be a wrap, they gave them front row center court tickets that the mom wouldn't even take. But I think also, going back to Boston, gangster move right here. Danny Ainge said, you know what, instead of people criticizing me for potentially a poor hire in Brad Stevens, who's underperformed despite going to the finals, Eastern Conference final, I'm going to quit my job, let him take my job, let him have my seat on the bus. So instead of the headline reading, Brad Stevens fired, the headline reads, Brad Stevens promoted. And I guess that can go into our NBA discussion. So when you hear that topic, Terry, which one of these topics stands out to you want to dig into, and we can build around that for the remaining 10 or 12 minutes that we have on the show?
I would say, a little bit more of that Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens. I feel like Brad Stevens is a really good college coach. To me, he overcoaches. And an example, I feel like, properly help him out, properly help me out in this claim was in the bubble when they played the Toronto Raptors and they had that last second shot that OG Anunoby had in the corner. It's like, why are we running a zone out of bounds? And don't get me wrong, I understand, everyone covers their area, talk on screens. I get that. But with the amount of seconds that they had, it wasn't even really amount of time to really get a playoff. It was like a catch and shoot scenario. Why are we overcoaching, having the players overthink? I just feel like he overcoaches. I don't feel like his philosophy translates to the NBA style very much. And I feel like a lot of that has to do, but don't get me wrong, they had a really bad injury this year, Jaylen Brown going down. That doesn't help your team a lot, So I feel like there are a lot of things that we can point at Brad Stevens' way. But I do feel like he would be much better in the college world. But as far as it goes with fans, man, we were just talking about how we miss being miss being in the arenas, the stadiums. Act accordingly. I mean, we were just talking about not being able to go and feel the atmosphere and doing all that. I don't care if Kyrie stepped on Lucky. Let the players handle that. Don't take it in your own hands for fans. What audacity do you feel like you had to throw the bottle at Kyrie? Like it just goes to think that the entitlement that you got to feel like you got to throw the bottle at Kyrie to defend a sports team. You're a fan. You don't do anything for that organization besides buy a ticket and maybe a jersey he had on. It's like let the players handle that. John Morant, you keep doing your thing. I'm glad his mom wouldn't take the ticket because that goes to show that she's not gonna be no pushover. Because what the guy said with his daughter around was very disrespectful and very racially insensitive towards their family, to black people, period. So I mean, it's Boston, it's Utah. It's the typical thing. Players understand. They know that. Ask Russell Westbrook. He gets it all the time in Utah, in Philly, and all those places. So, I mean, it is what it is. But at the same time, it's like fans remember that we weren't able to go in there and watch the game. We had to watch it from a TV. And now they lit the capacity and we're acting out of character. Like, come on. Let's lower it, enjoy the game, let the players play, and just sit back and watch greatness.
Wow, that's well said, man. You touched on all the topics. You made some really good points, especially about the fan. Like, dude, let the players handle that. Like, that ain't on you, cuz. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the best point that you made, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, like, I still want places to be hostile environments, though. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Like, I don't want
for as it relates to the sporting event.
Yeah, like that's one of the sporting events. If you love the sport, it's one of the greatest atmospheres that you will.
Let me ask you, what are you defining as hostile, Patrick? Define hostile so we'll get an understanding of what you mean by that.
You got Madison Square Garden, you got New York, you got.
I forgot to mention New York. My man spitting that Trae Young.
Yep.
You got Philly and Boston and all those places where, if you do stomp on the thing, something's probably gonna happen to you. Maybe you get beer thrown on you or something like that. Like, you was kind of asking for it. If like you're in a place, you just called them racist 4 or 5 days before you showed up. And then you show up and then you stomp on Lucky, which they've won. What is the ridiculous amount? 16 NBA championships. I mean, it's an ungodly amount. It's ridiculous. They got the most in the NBA, I think.
So you're saying there's potential that Kyrie deserved to have a bottle thrown at him for stomping on Lucky?
Why not? He stomped on Lucky. What do you think that actions come without repercussions?
Stay on that for a second. Stay on that. I remember when T.O. was playing against Dallas, and he would go stand on the star. But to Terry's point, the second time he did it, a DB ran out there and smacked him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, bygones be bygones, keep it moving. That was the end of it. You know what I'm saying? But a fan, should it be expected? Or like Trae Young, what sin did Trae Young commit other than lighting them boys up? To be spat at? I mean, come on. We're talking about that's like, you could argue that's like chemical warfare. Like, what is going on?
I don't think that you should be physically harmed unless it's player on player. Now, if a Boston Celtics ran up to Kyrie and swung on him, that's something totally different. But as a fan, I think you should be trying to cause bodily harm. I would never agree with that type of stuff. But, then like the verbal racism and stuff like that, like you taking it a little too far. Like you could have called the lady ugly and it would have been fine. You know, like
right.
could have did anything else. You could call names and stuff like whatever, but let's keep it, you know, in the realm of talking shit.
John, what do you see the NBA is going to do this offseason? We're going to hope that nothing else happens, but, you know, who knows? But what change is going to happen in the offseason? What are the NBA Players Association? What are they going to bring to the table? I mean, it's almost like, guess who looking like they was in the right now? Ron Artest looking like, you know,
well,
it's like people having sympathy for him.
Players now. They're banning.
Say what?
They're banning the fans that are like the guy that threw the bottle. He got banned.
But you know, you wonder if it's like, all right, I went to a game, I can't go back, but are they gonna get some notoriety on social media? Are they gonna be able to have their own following? Are they gonna be able to leverage that in some way or form? Listen, if that man posted a GoFundMe to pay his bail, he would have got more than $1 from somebody.
Oh, sure. Sure.
Now. So with that being said, the other side of it is it may be worth it to some people to act out for what they're going to get. I even wonder if the fan in Washington that got tackled, was he promoting a brand? Because it's like he had a unique type of sweater on. You wonder if it's worth. Okay, I can't go to another Piston game, but you go see my brand splattered everywhere, and I'm gonna get some clicks, and it's worth it. John, help me, man, from a historical standpoint. Take us back. Did you ever see the day where this will happen, and what do you think the offseason is going to be like for the decision makers, being the NBA owners and the Players Associations? What's going to happen next season with this?
Well, Lindsay, I am a product of the Detroit public school system. I participated in sports, and I never went on a bus, a DSR bus, to a high school in Detroit where we didn't get all the windows broke with stones, had to keep our helmets on and fight our way out of neighborhoods. Never went to a away game where that didn't happen. When I refereed basketball, when the visiting cheerleaders came on the floor, they used to go, woo, woo, who let the dogs?
Who let the dogs
So, you know,
no matter how cute they were, huh? It didn't matter. No matter how cute they were.
Yeah, you know, I mean, things don't change. Some things don't. Sports brings the worst out in people.
Yeah,
it brings out the best in people. And those basketball players have done the best job of any professional sports league in taking care of themselves. And there'll be something that'll be addressed. And I think more than the fans' bad behavior, these guys need some rest. When you think about the basketball that they've played, because what I told Patrick the other night, that you know how they advertise during the game on the bottom right of the screen, the finals are in July. When did these guys start playing?
They just did.
This is a long going into last year. Man, these guys need a rest, and it looks like it.
It was their shortest turnaround.
And Trae Young deserves everything he gets going back to New York. What he did at the end of that game, instead of just sitting there and letting the clock run down or passing the ball, he's got to piss on every New York fan. And I'm going to tell you, New York, don't go to any clubs when you're in New York, Trey.
Do you think he had no idea what he was doing? I mean, he knew what he was doing, but do you think
he was telling those people, kiss my ass?
I know, but do you think he knew the magnitude of what that's going to do for him the rest of his life?
No. And somewhere along the line, you know, I can remember Isaiah getting mouthy with Karl Malone in a game in Utah. And they came back the next year and played in Utah. And Isaiah goes to the rack.
Oh, yeah, he dropped the clothes on him.
Karl Malone put 18 stitches above his right eye.
I remember that.
Now, this guy, if that would have happened today, Malone would be in prison, and Isaiah wouldn't be able to play for a month. But by the way, Isaiah went and got stitched up and played the next quarter.
Yeah, it's different.
You know, his eye couldn't see out of one eye, but he still was better than 90% of people on the floor. Things haven't changed that much, but you know, you can't throw stuff at people. You can call them all the names you want, and you know, I mean, look when you go to colleges. Look when you go to Cameron, they got your SAT scores, and you know, I mean, that's all different. But you know, you can't throw nothing at anybody. You can't go out and attack them. And be careful what you wish for, because if you let some of these guys, the basketball players will beat the shit out of them.
Yeah,
you're right about that. You know, before we get out of here, I want to go to our sponsors one more time, and then when we come back, we'll do a quick prediction with a minute or two that we have on these actual NBA playoffs. I want to thank the Horatio Williams Foundation, my guy H, for what he's doing to support us, Dick's Sporting Good as well as Gilead Sciences, and shout out to the Streets of Talking Podcast Network, Clarence Babor, and my guy Don Houston. And finally, let's do one more Team Michigan commercial break to talk about the basketball tournament coming up in October.
Basketball tournament in Michigan. Team Michigan basketball has done the work. It's prime time. They are PTPers, baby. Get ready for a scary good basketball tournament. Halloween weekend at the venue of all venues. Baby Grand Traverse Resort. I'm talking about a diaper dandy, baby. I mean awesome with a capital A. A basketball tournament that is designed with the entire family in mind. Escape to a 900-acre northern Michigan resort just outside of Traverse City. Enjoy 54 holes of championship golf, spa, indoor-outdoor tennis, indoor water playground, fitness center, private beach club, 4 restaurants, shopping, and now basketball. I can't wait, baby! It's the stay to play that will make your day! Halloween weekend 2021. Check it out at www.boosketball.com. Your team soon. This one is going to fill up quickly. A basketball tournament at a resort. That's a slam, bam, jam, baby.
So with that, guys, I'm looking at our time. In order to get all our production in order, we're going to have to wrap this up. I want to thank John and Patrick Rutherford. I want to thank Terry McCord. And I know, John, if you give us a quick comment before we wrap up, go ahead.
I just want to take my hat off and applaud the Arizona High School Athletic Association and the Arizona High School Basketball Coaches Association. They're having a tournament in Chandler, Arizona in July where the college coaches can come and watch. 190 high school teams are going to be there to perform, sponsored by the Arizona High School Athletic Association and the Basketball Coaches Association. And I just take my hat off for them and the progressive thinking and being able to put these kids in one area where college coaches can watch them. We don't always see the cooperation like that.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe that'll take hold throughout the country. So with that, this is Lindsey Huddleston with SPS, the SPS Edge. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Terry McCord Jr., John and Patrick Rutherford, my guys, and, of course, Coach Orlando Watkins. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.